And we're back with Fückscast number 14. This thing is still going, still pushing forward. And this is the last Fückscast I do before the very first Daddy's Gone Wild preview show. I'm doing that tomorrow. It's at least an hour of me on stage. No other comedians, just me, just my insanity. And I'm afraid. I have the fear right now. Today I'm going to be spending practicing, getting everything ready, getting my head in the game to do this show. Yeah. Uh, and at times like this, it's like what goes through in my brain is on the one hand, there's a whole bunch of stuff like the sheer insanity of thinking that I can be entertaining for an hour is, like what gives me that right? Why that is myself that? Why are you outing yourself, dude, in such a ridiculous way? All these kind of fears popping up in my head. But then again, like for this preview show, 60 people have got tickets. So, which is sold out, basically. We're going to be at this place, the Hotel Rivington in the Prime Tower. It's a super cool venue. They have a very sexy looking bar as well. All kinds of, you can judge a bar by what they have behind if they have the good stuff. But, yeah, so I don't know if there's much I can say about it. I've just been practicing the material. I think one of the things I'm most afraid of is just getting like a brain freeze. This happened to me before on stage where it's just the brain just shuts down. It happened to me about 2 weeks ago. I was doing a show with Comedy Kiss, opening one of the openers, and I get up on stage, do the first bit, and then like head empty. And I'm like, I'm here. And I'm like, so what shall I talk about? Because there's nothing in my head right now. Luckily, I found a way to, this question popped up. We got any parents here? And then like go back into the flow of it. Actually, I think it made it more real. There's one of the things is like, comedy is, there's a lot of trickery in comedy because you prepare these jokes up front. Jokes take a long time to develop. And so there's an element of it, it's memorization and recital and writing and all this kind of effort that goes into making a joke just hit home in the perfect way. But on the other side, like comedy is a live performance. It's not a recital. And so this mix between the jokes that you've written and practiced and being live and present on stage is a very hard thing to navigate. And I'm going to find out tomorrow if I can do this for an hour. Longest I've done so far is 45 minutes. There's a show in Lausanne. That went pretty well. But the show before that, also in Lausanne, which was about 35 minutes, I I traumatized that audience somehow. And there's also a thing of like, I got well, for some audiences, quite dark jokes. Actually, I remember once I was doing, I spent a week in Barcelona doing some comedy. And at one show, there was like half the room were a group of strippers, which is like in Zurich, something that, we make, okay, I'm not going to get too dark here. But so there's a group of strippers. They're all, young people. They look around the age of people that could be studying things with their lives, and not to judge them, but they were strippers and they were performing in bars. And it was males and men and women. And normally, like, I'm used to the reaction to my jokes being like people pulling back. But these guys are like, dude, like, why is this dark and creepy and whatever? They're like, we're strippers. Like, hit us with the really hard stuff, which I didn't have. And then it was a weird experience. But anyway, so enough about Daddy's Gone Wild. It's sold out. It was great. Actually, it's been a pretty awesome week. My son went on stage at Kontiki, did 2 shows there. And honestly, he blew my mind. I've helped him. The jokes are his. I helped him structure them and practice them. But then when it came to him performing on stage, something happened. Even his voice sounded different. And he got into like roasting the crowd a little bit, and maybe I can just be cheeky and just show a little bit of what he was doing. So let's cue this up here. Try and get stuff kind of prepared on this show for once. Okay, here we go. I'll move me over here. This is Ben on stage last week. Let's check it out.
I'm 18, and it's crazy how competitive guys are in my age. Like me and my friends, we always compete on how much sex we're getting. And I can always tell who's winning by the distance he's willing to travel for sex. I mean, look at this guy. For his ex-girlfriend, I feel like he traveled a while. How long did you travel, mister?
1 hour.
1 hour? Jesus Christ. Woo, that's a long time. Mister, you don't look like you travel a lot. This lady probably came to you. I want to know, how far will you travel for? I mean, this sheepskin jacket just says all, man. You won't travel more than 10 minutes. God damn, like, respect just from the looks. Tell me, man. Alright, he has a loss for words. Yeah, but you can tell me if you don't.
He's got over 1 hour.
Awesome! Jesus Christ! Yeah, I mean, my friend Andre over here.
All right, that's another. It just blew my mind. It really blew my mind how he just got into it with the audience. It's like, wow, and and you can see this audience show. Is this freaking 18-year-old roasting us right now? So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think I'm not pushing him to be a comedian, but I think it's a great way to build confidence at that age, that you have this ability to, you're not afraid of communicating in a public setting. And, we had a great conversation about it also, is, the fear that gets produced when you get on stage. Because it's like one of these things, it's kind of like a primordial fear. And I think the theory I've heard is it goes to, human survival, that basically we being accepted by a group was essential for our survival. Like if you got ostracized from a group like 200,000 years ago, you're basically done unless you're some superhero hunter, because the group helps you with protection. You share the food, maybe share the shelter. The moment you're alone, any predatory saber-toothed tigers, for example, could take you out, or some other tribe or group might grab you. And just the basics of survival, of being able to gather food and protect yourself. So the theory is that this is wired into us. So when you get on stage and you start talking to a group, if you bomb, if that room turns against you, that fear taps deep into like the genetics of whatever, the human soul or the human history. And he was describing some of these feelings he was having, but then he gets up on stage and he just hit it, and it just like but then what was interesting is that after one of these shows, you always get these funny people sometimes. Like when you do a show, you hang out afterwards, and I'm not gonna judge or label this person, but there was one person outside who was insisting on giving first Ben and then me advice on what we were doing, and basically he's trying to steal our energy, because like Ben performed and I followed him, and we both did great. And then this guy's outside going, "Let me give you some advice," and he keeps touching me on the shoulder, and and normally, without, it was a weird situation for me, because like partly my dad mode was engaged, so I'm a little bit protective about Ben, and normally I wouldn't tolerate someone behaving this way, but he's just drunk, but he's also like got this, "Let me tell you why what you were doing was so great. I'm here. I'm going to tell you about your life." And like, dude, like, people, stop that kind of stuff. And I know where it comes from, and I'm not going to label it today. I'm trying trying to bring some peace and joy into the land, because tomorrow it's Daddy's Gone Wild. And yeah, I mean, actually, one other thing we got coming up. So Daddy's Gone Wild is sold out. This is, allow me a little bit of promo here. But we got this comedian coming in a week, Filippo Sprefico. And I saw this guy when that week I was in Barcelona. I saw him perform, and like, I honestly, I think if this guy was in America, he would have blown. We'd all know his name. Of course, in Europe, the machinery around promoting comedians and talent is not as effective as it is in the US, which dominates the world with culture. But this guy is so funny, and I remember he gets up on stage and he's starting out with his material, but his whole face and his whole way of being is already making people laugh. And he takes the mic out of the stand, and the stage is very small, so he's like trying to, while he's talking to us, trying to find a spot for the microphone stand. And then he just hands it into someone, and he'll say, please take care of that. And like within 60 seconds, he's already got that whole crowd just dying of laughter. And so if you allow me a little bit, I think this particular bit that he does, he's put it on Instagram, and I think it's brilliant, and very funny. So I'll give you a little taste.
Americans brought in workaholism, like just do a lot, just like you're gonna be the best, like you can do it, just think positively. Drink 6 liters of coffee per day, think positively, just invest in as many things as possible at the same time. If you feel relaxed, just do yoga very quickly. Just do yoga very quickly. Just do yoga. And so, it's to relax. Yoga is good to relax. Now I went back to Italy. To my friends because I moved back to Rome after 15 years. And they're like, you do yoga now? Okay, so you're homosexual now? I'm sorry. It's just like, it's what they do. It's just like for their productivity. Like if you work a lot, you just gotta do a lot of yoga. Just stretch, like my neck is tense, but like my waist is really foldable. I don't know how that is supposed to work.
Yes, that is Filippo. He's a true. I mean, I hope I'm not revealing something here. Filippo, kill me if you ever see this. But after seeing him perform in Barcelona, I was just mind blown, like comparing what I'd learned about comedy up to that point with what he was doing. And I'm like, I went to him, I was like, dude, how did you get this good? Like, what is it? Like, does it, I don't know, like theater train? What he told me is he was in Berlin for quite a long time, a lot of the Berlin English comic scene, and know Filippo. And he said basically what he did is for 8 months, or he would go to comedy shows and get up on stage with no material, no jokes, nothing. And he just began with that to work on how to just be funny with nothing. And that, I mean, as I was saying about this fear of bombing you have, like getting on stage with no material, no jokes ready is like getting on stage naked. It's just that concept is terrifying, and that he put himself through 8 months of that, and then found some way. I don't know, that whole thing just blew me away. I hope I'm not giving away his, but it's not a recipe. It's just go do it if you want to try and go in that direction with your comedy. But yeah, anyway, he's coming to Zurich next week, 18th and 19th. We're going to be doing 4 shows, 2 nights at the Hotel Rivington. First, his solo show. I'm excited to see what this is, because it partly he combines it with music. He's a talented keyboard player. It's called the show's called Italian Rhapsody, and then we're going to be following it with a show with a few of us local comedians, Chris Dawa, we got Sean J, who's new from Berlin, who's also hilarious. You got me hosting, and then you got Filippo headlining. Show's called Love and Regret. It comes after Valentine's Day, so it's kind of like a palate cleanser. You know, if you had a bad Valentine's date, or if you had no Valentine's Day at all, or if you broke up on Valentine's Day, this is a show for you. Love and regret, because who hasn't fallen in love and then deeply regretted it later? I think that's everyone, basically. But anyway, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing today. I'm kind of just trying to say chill, but I mean, one of the things I'm doing, one of the things I got to do is prepare the playlist for tomorrow's show, as well as practicing a bunch today. And it got me. I just went down a little track. One of my heroes, since I was a very young man, is a certain fellow called. Let me just bring him up here. Is a certain chap uh, called Mike Patton. Let me just show you Mike Patton here real quick. Look at this. This is Mike Patton. I'll move myself back over here. Look at that, very stylish. And Mike Patton, he used to be the headliner for a band called Faith No More. If it's interesting to me because like meeting young people, like people under 25, say, these days at comedy shows, they're going back to a lot of music that was, like Led Zeppelin is very popular, and they're kind of discovering all this retro music that some of it had came out when I was young, and I think mostly it's because modern music has just become algorithmically generated. Um, so they're looking for something that's got a little bit more soul to it. And one thing I would recommend is Faith No More, and their second album, it's called The Real Thing with Mike Patton on it, is a fantastic album. They did a cover of Ozzy or Black Sabbath's War Pigs, which seems like a very good song to listen to in this current time. In fact, I would even argue the Faith No More version of War Pigs has more energy in it than the original Black Sabbath version. Um, and yeah, Mike Patton is, I don't know, there's something about this guy I just find fantastic. So I'll probably put one or two songs. He's been in quite a few bands. There's a band called Mr. Bungle, Mondo Kane. He's done all kinds of stuff. There's this weird album called Themes for Adult Voice, I think it is, which is just him making voice noises. Yeah. And anyway, so, but what I discovered is apparently Mike Patton is coming to Switzerland on the. Oh, here we go. I could give you a little taster of this. He's coming with his band, Mr. Bungle, and I'm just playing other people's stuff. Like it's my commitment to delivering a Fückscast every week. I don't really have anything to say this week apart from the fact I'm preparing for my show. That's all I got in my head. But so I'm filling it in with other people's content, including my son's. That's how cheap I am. Let's go do this. Let's look at Mondo Kane, who's going to be coming to Zurich on June the 16th to Extra. I'm going to get a ticket right after recording this. Check this out. Okay, that's probably about as much as I can get away with before getting a copyright strike on YouTube. Oh dear. And hold on a second. There's some technical issue with my setup here, and now it's gone all blurry. That's a good hint for me to end this Fückscast. So come next week, I'll do a little retrospective of how my. Oh wait, what if we do this? No, it doesn't improve anything. Okay, so you get a blurry. I gotta fix this stuff. Technical issues. Anyway. All right, you guys have a great week. Whoever's listening to this, and we'll catch you next time on Fückscast.